All right, part two of Fridays with Freddie. As you can tell, we're wearing the same clothes as last week and sitting in the same space, but it just worked out. We have our camera guy, Raj, here, so we might as well shoot 2 episodes. So, Fred, continuing in the conversation, we're still talking about the IT shop of the future.
Yeah.
And the IT shop of the future has to factor in AI into its thinking and planning and considerations. And as it relates to that, you have some thoughts.
Yeah, look, this is going to be very free-flowing because I really just want to have a conversation because this is something that I'm kind of thinking about today and yesterday.
After our sessions here?
After our sessions here. And because what we're seeing, and we've spoken about this on prior occasions, but we're seeing it now in real life, the impact that generative AI, large language models, with RAGs and agents and guardrails and all these things, the power of what it can do. And as somebody that has worked in higher education and in IT shops for over 25 years, I can tell you some of the things that we are working on or that we're seeing experimented with replaces entire classes of software.
That's right.
Right? So at the same time, we're also dealing with or working with clients that are in a procurement process or are thinking about preparing for the future, but they're looking at legacy software.
So they're writing their big RFPs.
Right, big RFPs. And to give one example, really 10 years ago, an organization should have had a data warehouse, right?
Yeah.
Or and a data analytics strategy, a big data strategy, whatever you want to call it. And having the right tool is absolutely wonderful, is great. But now in the age of AI, and the needs the data needs of AI, which is structured and unstructured data, there's going to be different requirements. And not just different requirements in regards to what the AI needs to actually function properly, but also how do you create entirely new
reference material and stuff?
Reference materials, and because the power of generative AI is exactly that, is generating. It's not just copying information, it's putting information together. It's making connections. It's
finding patterns.
It's finding patterns, and it's a complexity engine, right? It can untangle complexity that we have, that we struggle with. For example, if you look at the entire consulting industry in higher education for the last 40 years, the main thing they're doing is trying to standardize business processes,
right?
Because it's too complex, right? Organizations, by the way, organizational theory actually says it, right?
Simplify, standardize.
Simplify. And if you don't, it will automatically become very, very complex.
The chaos theory.
Exactly. So if you have a school that has, for example, five business units, 10 business units,
8 campuses,
etc., right? One of the challenges there is how do you deal with that complexity? The answer has always been, let's standardize, let's simplify.
Policies, procedures,
right. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. You should still do that. What I'm saying and what I'm seeing is that AI has the ability to untangle that complexity and just display it to the end user as whatever information that they're looking for, right? Mm-hmm. So knowing that, if you're now in the market for, let's say, a data warehouse, shouldn't that be a consideration? Like, okay, what does that data warehouse need?
Or someone could argue, someone who really knows their stuff with AI would basically say, well, why are you building why are you going to spend $1 million to $5 million on a data warehouse anymore? It's going to be obsolete in 18 months.
Maybe, yeah.
So that's the consideration. Now, that may or may not be true in your situation, but you can't just go buy or build a data warehouse using your historical mind. You've got to put on an AI mind before you make the decision. That's your point.
That's really, that's the main point.
Yeah, because honestly, there were times in the last 2 days, you and I were both mind blown at different times as we were understanding what Gen AI can do in a student experience, in an advisor's experience, in a staff member's experience, in taking all that complexity and just making it so simple.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take 10 years to build it.
Correct.
Right.
There's still a lot that we need to experiment with. There's still a lot that we need to do. There's a lot of unknowns still, but seeing what it can do with, gigabytes of data and being able to summarize, no, actually, here are the 5 things you need to know. Internet itself.
When you say gigabytes of data, you're not even talking technology data. You're saying 100 gigabyte of PDF material.
Exactly.
My course catalog
Right.
can be ingested and interpreted by AI
Right.
in seconds.
Exactly.
And that's the part that we're mind blown on. So your point being that this isn't just about schools that are thinking about data warehouses. You're saying any major technology buy you're considering, a new SIS, going to add, upgrading your HR finance, a new CRM system, you cannot make those decisions anymore with the lens you had 2 years ago.
I don't think so.
You have to make it with a lens of understanding what AI is going to be doing in the next 2 years and buying based on that. Because chances are, I would say 90% of the products that are in our market today are at risk of being obsolete a couple years from now.
Let's just say that in the age of AI and the exponential nature of it and what we're seeing, OpenAI released their latest model yesterday, scored something like 89% on science exams.
Yep.
In that age, 5 years is a long time.
It's a long time. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Fred, you've given us, and hopefully senior leaders, functional leaders, technology leaders, something to think about. And again, usually anytime you're talking, I realize what you're basically doing is planting seeds, getting people to have a conversation at their campus.
That's exactly what it is,
right?
yeah.
There's no blanket prescription.
Right.
It's just have this conversation, see where it goes, call you if they need some advice, but don't skip this conversation. You could regret it big time.
You need to have
in
the
a couple
conversation.
years.
Yeah, you need to think about it. And by the way, if you go through that process and you come to the conclusion that actually no, we're good with the decision,
check the box.
that's fine.
Yeah. Because you'll be able to justify it in 2 years.
Exactly.
When someone asks you, why did you guys go spend that money?
Right.
You'll have an answer for it.
Yep.
Fridays with Freddie. Thanks for being with us. Fred, we'll see you next week.
See you
You'll
next
be in
week.
Dominican Republic. I'll be back in Miami, but this was fun.
Thank you.
See ya.